You can sit a little closer, Coach.
Perfect.
All right, we got Coach Mack with us now. We'll start with his opening statement and then go to our radio crew.
Well, I thought, obviously Pittsburgh's depleted, and to have two of their major, factor guys being out, we prepared for them to be in there. We knew that it was going to be a hard game to win on the glass. Sure, a big blow for Coach Capel and his team, but I thought they fought throughout the game, and the biggest undoing that we had, just our turnovers. And by and large, we've been a pretty decent team. I thought Dave and Sam in particular were guys that, got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. As they become sophomores now, we got to expect a little bit more of their sureness with the ball. But, anytime you can win on the road in front of 0 people, you got to feel good about it.
Bob, you're on mute.
I'm not on mute anymore. Sorry
There we
about
go.
that. Your field goal percentage inside the arc was extraordinary tonight. I think over 60%. It was just outside the arc. So you got good shots when you got it inside. Did the offense slow down a little bit? Why did you start so well and then seemingly get just a little bit out of sync for a stretch there?
Well, I really think that we became just casual, a little soft with the ball at times, Bob. I think, at halftime, Pitt had 28 points. 13 out of 28 were off our turnovers. So to think that, hey, they've got 15 points they generated in the half court, if we don't give them the ball or drive it in there and lose it, then maybe we go into halftime with a much greater lead. And I think that, again, younger guys being more staples of our team now, more core players, they have to become more responsible with the ball, with their decision making, being less casual with the ball. But, Pittsburgh knocked us back. Give them credit. They turned us over, and now it was a new game at halftime. And I was really proud of our team's response. But I think that's where it started, because we did do a great job on the glass. We were getting second and third shots, and we just have to be able to handle the ball better than we did there, especially in the first half and even times down the stretch here in the second.
To that end, you talked about last game, you thought maybe some of your returning players didn't really step up the way you needed them to. But tonight, you threw the gauntlet down about rebounding, and you got Sam and David just absolutely killed on the glass. Were you pleased with the way they stepped forward for you?
I was, Bob. They're hard to block out at their position. David, not too many two guards in the country are going to rebound, with the ability that he has. He's got long arms. He's got great timing. He's strong. He certainly gets up off the floor. And, we train him to go both offensively and defensively to the glass. And, Sam, I thought, really played with a really good nose for the ball. And we needed that. I think coming into the game, the mindset was we got to keep guys like Tony and Champagne off the glass. And certainly, they've got younger guys now when those two go out. But nevertheless, we did the job on the glass.
Did Carlik get tired? Were you having to manage his minutes a little bit?
He did. He got very winded. And, he didn't practice for, 9-10 days. 10 days he wasn't at practice. And then we have a return to play where even on day 11, Bob, he's not necessarily, or I should say day 8, he's not necessarily, allowed to practice for 2 hours. He's on a bike for 20 minutes. He's on a stair climber. So, he's a gutsy player. He wanted to play, but we had to make sure that, if it was a very tight game down the stretch, his tongue wasn't on the floor, turning the ball over and not being able to defend because of his fatigue.
When the game was still in doubt, till late in the game, it was still in doubt. You guys broke it open a little bit late. What did you talk about with them, and who did you like, and what did you like about stepping up to kind of put this thing away comfortably down the stretch?
Well, I thought a lot of our guys stepped up in different ways. I thought JJ, who didn't play particularly well in the first half, played a lot better in the second half. Part of our talk in the huddle was they were going to try to bully him, with Hughley. He's a big kid as a freshman. And for the most part, JJ did a pretty decent job, fouled him once or twice. That's a big ask, as you know, when he's at the 5. I thought Dre made a big-time post-up move, in the second half. We got Dave going downhill a couple times, made some big shots. Sam hit a 3 in front of our bench. So I just thought, plays were being made by a lot of different guys down the stretch. That's good to see. That's a sign of a good team. And, we've got a long way to go. Way too many turnovers at 17. We're not going to beat really good teams doing that. So we got to be better the next time out.
All right, one quick last question. Obviously, the game coming up now, people kind of pay attention to that one. So do you feel good about where your team is going into that one?
I think every time you go to practice, you feel, like you got to improve. And so while I'm happy we won, there are several takeaways that we have from this game that we have to continue to improve. You obviously worry about your team's psyche, coming out of Wisconsin. And so to be able to go back-to-back games on the road and come up with a victory here in the second one after getting drubbed, I think says a lot about our players, says a lot about their character, their wanting to win. And we know we're gonna get a lot better, team than Kentucky's been all year, and they've been really good in some games. And just the Carolina game is a perfect example. So, pretty sure we're gonna get their best.
Congratulations, thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Bob.
We'll go to media questions now. First from Kent.
Chris, you kind of mentioned David and his game and getting him going downhill. Did you think he played a pretty complete game on both ends of the floor? I thought at the end of the first half, he kind of came in and really made it difficult on some guys that were kind of hot for Pitt there.
Yeah, Dave has become a lot better defensive player this year. You would expect that from a sophomore. He's got, so much ability with his arms, his timing, his athleticism, his quickness, and his strength. But he didn't have the experience a year ago. And at times, Kent, he's playing the other team's two guard, because, at times that can be tough for him to play a 5'11", 6'1", guard. David's, like that big boxer that, guys are trying to get up underneath a little bit. So having Carlik out there helps him in more ways than just the ball handling assignments. And I think David's become a lot better defensive player and a guy that we're counting on a whole lot on that end of the floor.
Other questions? Shannon.
Sorry if you've already addressed this. I was a little bit late, but how did you feel about the way your team responded today, just coming off of that loss at Wisconsin and knowing that in an ACC opener that so much was on the line?
Yeah, with a young team, Shannon, there was some good and there was some bad. Certainly we're happy with the result, but, there's always things that you can take away. I was worried, I think rightfully so. You come off of the Wisconsin game, and not just the psyche, the physical shape that our guys are in. You just take off, 9 days of practice in the middle of the season, and you're trying to get their win back. You're trying to execute things offensively. There's just a lot of slippage over the course of taking that much time off. And then you add in the fact that we didn't play well at all at Wisconsin. So yeah, we were worried as a coaching staff, but I wasn't worried about the fact that I have kids that really care, that I've got high character guys, guys that are improving and learning how to play with one another. So disappointed with our turnovers, but we're going to continue to get better and use games like last Saturday as a learning experience, like I said, after that game too.
Back to Kent and then to Michael.
Chris, you mentioned that Carlik obviously got tired for taking so much time off. As far as the wind and you mentioned last week you had to get this team back in shape. Do you feel like in large part they're there, or do they still even have a little ways to go?
No, I don't think we're there yet. I thought our tongues were dragging at the end of the first half, but I didn't feel that way in the second half. So that makes me feel a little bit better than I did at halftime. It's I know you guys are, remote. It's just an odd feeling. You're running up and down. You're in an empty gym. There's some white noise. It's just different. And again, I think you add in the 9 days that our guys had off, and we're all at different stages. Where Carlik Jones's conditioning is, and Jalen Withers and Josh Nickelberry is a heck of a lot different, than a guy like David Johnson. Because David never really missed any time. He was able to get in 4 or 5 workouts once he tested negative, several times before, during that break. So guys are all different places right now, conditioning wise. Nights like tonight will help us continue getting better and better shape.
To Michael.
Coach, you mentioned Josh Nickelberry. How great was it to have another body to come off the bench? And how'd you think, obviously he's going to be rusty, but how'd you think his first night out was?
Yeah, Josh is tale of two halves. You know, it was great to see that shot go in for him in the first half. He lost an assignment, back-to-back possessions. They picked on him a little bit. With Xavier Johnson hitting the three in the corner over an action that, you know, we had gone over, and, you know, they were running even when he was out. So, you know, it's always tough. Having been there myself, it's always tough. You can visually see what's going on the floor, but until you're in practice every single day and getting game moments, it's not an easy transition. So I just want to continue to get Josh on the floor, both in practice and in games. The more he's out there, the more comfortable and confident he's going to be. He's got to be able to be a great defensive player for us, and he can shoot that thing.
To Aaron.
Hey, Coach, late in the game, it seemed Carlik and DJ really helped put things away, building it to a double-digit lead. Is that backcourt maybe something that you anticipate being able to take over late in games with Carlik's experience and some of the unique traits David has that you've mentioned before?
Well, they better be able to, because I don't know who else we're going to turn to with ball handling responsibilities. You know, certainly nobody as sharp as those two guys. So, yeah, they're going to share the bulk of the ball handling. That doesn't mean a guy like Sam, who hit a couple, you know, hit a bunch of big free throws and, you know, hit a pull-up and hit a three. He's going to make those plays, and we're going to expect Dre to be able to do the same, and Jalen Withers. But, you know, it starts with those two guys on the offensive end for sure. They have to be playmakers, and good guards are closers too, to use a baseball analogy. They've got to be able to close games as well as play make throughout.
Seeing no other questions, that'll close it out for Coach. We'll be back with Louisville players shortly.
Thank you.